So another day, another Democrat scandal, and to be quite honest, it seems like I'm in the wrong business here. I may need to listen to some of you and take a trip down to DC because these mother lovers are getting filthy rich. I mean, filthy, stinking rich. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sure you guys seen the thumbnail, you're seeing all that. So on the topic of discussion for today is Ayanna Pressley, Democrat Congressmember Ayanna Pressley, because once again, we have another member of Congress whose net worth went from negative to all of a sudden millions of dollars. Yeah. With that being said, let's jump into a couple of clips I have for you guys. Check it out.
How did you make all this income from the rental property?
Sir, I submit a financial disclosure, just like everybody else. There's nothing to see here. Thank you.
Is it appropriate for members to make so much money when they're in office? Should there be rules there? Financial disclosure reports show that the wealth of Pressley and her husband Conan Harris swelled from $12,000 in 2019 to as much as $8 million. 5 rental properties earn them up to $350,000 annually. Pressley once advocated to suspend rent.
5 rental properties? How much? $350,000
annually. Presley once advocated to suspend rent during the pandemic. She pushed policies for struggling homeowners.
These little to no cost bills help people remain housed.
Presley's husband is an ex-con who went from serving a decade in jail before they were married for drug trafficking to raking in up to $1 million a year as a business and management consultant.
Bro, there's no way 5 properties nets you $350,000 a year. Like, unless these properties are like in downtown New York, like what the hell? What? I mean, we're talking for 5 we talking like an exorbitant amount of money. Let's hold on. Let me break that down. 350 divided by 12 and divide that by 5. Yeah, we talking almost $6,000 a month per property. $6K. Like, are these properties like in New York? Now, if they're in New York, okay. But then also, how'd you get that kind of cash? Because to buy a property in New York, to even be able to rent it out, that's a crazy amount of money. And you know, here's a little tidbit that a lot of people don't even think about. People like Ayanna Pressley, right, advocate for these rent freezes and everything. When they do it, take a look at the bill that would actually freeze the rent, right? I guarantee you the rental property owners still get paid, and they get paid from tax dollars. They get paid from the government. So it's a guaranteed check that they don't have to worry about. See what I mean? See, read the fine print when these Democrats be out here. Oh, I just want to help the people. Yeah, okay. If you want a rent freeze, then it's a complete and total rent freeze. Our tax dollars don't go towards paying any type of rent whatsoever. There's a complete and total rent freeze. I guarantee you, if you did that, all of these Democrats who are advocating for rent freezes wouldn't advocate for them. All of a sudden, that would go right out the window. Anyway.
There are many times where we can see that the spouse is the person who may be bringing in the most income.
Some lawmakers resist restrictions on outside earnings. Do you think that there should be changes, some different rules about what members can make while they're in office?
These are presumably right-wing reports designed to try to undermine our members, and there's nothing credible that has been suggested that I've seen.
But other members worry about their colleagues cashing in on congressional service.
The idea that people's net worth balloons at that level is yet another erosion of public trust.
There was one of the first aphorisms I learned is politics is the art of turning influence into affluence.
Now, the money also followed Pressley.
Politics is turning influence into affluence. Hey, listen, with the way these people's net worths are ballooning, yeah, I might have to join the party, y'all. Listen. Listen, I mean, you got individuals insider trading, obviously insider trading. Nothing has ever happened to them. You got these individuals turning their obviously influence into millions of dollars. All right. I mean, what 12,000. She went from 12K, or I think it was 12K to 8 million since 2019. Now, if that ain't the come up of the century, then I don't know what is. Like, what? That is crazy. That is crazy. Off of a salary of $175,000 a year. How in the fuck do you pull that one off? All right. I might be throwing my hat in the ring, Rich for Congress. This is crazy. I mean, genuinely, like, that is crazy, y'all. That is crazy. Like, genuinely mind-boggling. 12,000 to 8 million. In what, 6 years? That is nuts. That is nuts.
Well, this is a Fox News alert. It looks like Ilhan Omar isn't the only Millionaire Squad member. Now, our team dug into open secrets and financial disclosure reports. What we found is that when Ayanna Pressley was elected to Congress back in 2018, she had a negative net worth. You fast forward to today, she's worth $1.3 million with assets worth up to $8 million. Now, that's a massive increase in just 6 years, especially for someone on a $174,000 congressional salary. It's impressive, really. But how did she do it? Well, part of its property in 2024, Pressley reported owning a Martha's Vineyard rental worth up to $5 million, as well as multiple Boston rentals worth up to $1 million each. Now, for context.
Now, okay, to be fair, this makes sense, right? This makes sense in terms of, you know, being able to generate $350,000 on rent. But then also you gotta look at the front end, okay? Because now we looking at the back end right here in terms of rent per month. That's the back end. What about the front end? Where did she get the money to buy these properties? Like, you went from a negative net worth, negative $12,000, to being able to purchase a Martha's Vineyard property, clean it up, fix it up, right? Depending on the shape. Typically, if you're going to buy something, it's going to be, something that you're going to have to fix up. And on Martha's Vineyard, you're still not going to get it for a cheap price. You'll get it for a little bit of a discount because it needs to be, I'm sure, I would imagine it was a property that just needed to be updated. You know what I mean? Like, the bones, the structure was all solid. Everything was good. Property was looking solid. It just needed to be updated. So I'm sure she bought it at a little bit of a discounted price, updated it, which ain't cheap. And it's now ready to get out. So the question is, how is she able to buy a Martha's Vineyard property, which those properties are like millions of dollars, on a salary of $175,000? How does that even make sense? I'm curious. I really am. And then not only that, but then you went and bought 3 others. That part isn't adding up. But the amount of rent she's able to generate, that actually makes sense, because these are $1 million properties. So the rent is out the wazoo.
Back in 2019, she only reported owning 1 property in Boston. We're also learning days before Pressley was sworn into Congress, her husband quit his $92,000 annual Boston City Hall job to start his own consulting firm called Conan Harris and Associates. And as we read more of the Congresswoman's financial disclosure reports, we learn that her husband also saw his income jump while he was in Washington. His client list consists of some government organizations, including one with deep ties to the Obama Foundation. But as he started his firm and seeked new clients, he faced ethics concerns because of Pressley's job in Congress. Quote, as Harris's days dwindled in the city's Office of Public Safety, he used his city-issued email account to pitch Walsh's chief of staff on staying on as a consultant. City officials say they did not solicit nor accept the offer, and state ethics laws bar municipal employees from knowingly using official resources for personal gain. Now, we asked Pressley for comment, and we even invited her on. She did not answer. But Fox Business anchor David Asman joins me now. He's been looking over this information. And David, there's nothing wrong with gaining financial resources. We see this a lot in Congress, but there are questions.
That's another thing too. These consultants. My goodness. It's so obvious what's going on here. At least to me it is. I feel like it's obvious what's going on here. Consultant. That's money laundering to me. When everybody says, "Oh, I'm a consultant," you know, and it involves anybody in Congress, I automatically think money laundering. Money laundering. What are you consulting? Like, in the exorbitant amounts of money that they're being paid to consult. Bro, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Nobody's paying that much for consultants. Oh, man. If I needed consultants, I would just pay my employees a couple extra dollars to consult. Like, what? Why would I pay some outside person? You know? I don't know. That doesn't add up to me. But y'all let me know how you feel about it in the comments, all right?
Questions.
Well, and you go back to the 1930s, the last when movies began. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I mean, it's happened for a long time. It happens in both the right and left. But what's so rich is that this is coming from anti-capitalist squad members. You know,
Yes.
people who spent their life denigrating our capitalist system and saying how bad it was. In fact, Congresswoman Presley came out with an ex-post just a year ago. She and her fellow squad members, of course, constantly condemn capitalism, but she says Donald Trump and Musk want big banks and bad actors to run rampant and take people for a ride. They want to pillage the government and make themselves rich. Well, she's the one who's been pillaging the government. Now, again, we're not suggesting she's going in and stealing funds or anything like that, but the fact that she got rich off of her contacts in government, her husband got rich consulting with members of the business community and others, perhaps some people who were taking grants. That's, by the way, we saw that with Lee Zeldin, the EPA commissioner. When he came in, he found out that right before Biden left office in December of 2024, he was spending billions of dollars. A lot of that money was going directly to friends, you know, to acquaintances within the Democratic community that learned how to go in and write grants that would get accepted, making millions and millions of dollars each one of them. So this has been going on for a while. I should mention that.
Yep. I've heard about that too. How Biden in the last days, right, and weeks, was just throwing out money left and right. And the crazy part about it is he did it in such a way that technically it's legitimate. There's nothing you could do about it, right? It's done in such a way that it technically is legitimate business. Like, you can't go back and be like, oh yeah, you guys are doing some fraud. Technically, no, they're not. Now, we know what it is, right? What it actually, allegedly, what it actually is. I got to say allegedly, of course. But, yeah, man, this stuff runs deep. And that's why I've always said, you know, when it comes to this stuff and, you know, I see people upset with Uncle Trump, you know, because certain people that we wanted and expected to be arrested and thrown in jail aren't and haven't been. And it's like, yo, this thing it runs deep. And there's Republicans tied in it as well. Okay, so-called Republicans. I'd call them rhinos personally, but that's neither here nor there. And they're not going to let another one sink, because if they do, then they all sink. I'm sure that at least in my mind, that's common sense to me, right? If I'm entangled in some stuff that I know I shouldn't be, and you know, I don't know. We could throw out a name, any name. John Thune, right? Somebody I don't really like all that well. Now, I'm not claiming that he actually is involved in anything. I'm just throwing out a name, right? Let's say I know John Thune is involved in some of the same stuff. When I go down for it, guess who else I'm bringing down with me? He's going down with me. I'm snitching. Y'all want to play this game? Y'all want to just throw me under the bus by myself? No, y'all doing the same stuff that I'm doing. Come on, John Thune. Come on with me. You know what I mean? So if they all know that, then they're all going to protect each other. They're obviously not going to get on camera and say that. Of course not. So when it comes to these prosecutions and everything, one, it may never happen. And two, if it does happen, it's going to take a long time before it does. Do I think some people will be arrested? Yeah. It's not going to be instantly, though. It's going to take some time to untangle all of the mess because, of course, you know, things were done in certain ways to make it legitimate in some cases, and in other cases, it's been so entangled and things may have been deleted. Right? That's another thing as well. Why would you keep incriminating evidence on yourself if you know Trump's coming in office. Now, obviously, everything can't be deleted. Everything can't be hidden. So there are going to be some things there, but whatever you could delete and could hide, guess what you're going to do? You're going to do exactly that. You're not just going to leave it there for Trump to walk in and have at it, you know? So, I don't know, man. It makes sense to me. It's going to take some time before we see any true members of Congress go to prison for the crimes that they have committed, right? So be patient. We'll see where it goes. Hey, maybe it never goes anywhere. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? Because these folks, they did it in such a way that it's virtually impossible to catch them because of the way that they did it and because of the connections that they have. And they're all intertwined and, you know, in it. So one protects the other. Y'all get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions about all of this, man. Once again, another member of Congress going from a negative net worth to $8 million. Yeah, I might have to join Congress, y'all. Might have to join. I'm joking, of course. I'm joking. I'm not joining Congress. But anyway, stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.